3.
So not looking great for Misery Stack if you consult the
It's
cards.
a best of 3.
It is a best of 3, so we may see how things change down the line. But game 1, looking good for Elements with FY. That is a
the names are
fantastic
not
draw to
correct. Give me
have.
1 second to fix them. I didn't know who was left and who was right.
Obviously, Misery Stack. We're calling it Misery Stack because that is kind of what they are. But they do have a sponsor called BlinkPool.
And they're called BlinkPool in the game as well.
They called BlinkPool.
But we like GG Bet.
That's the tag they'll be going by. Yeah.
So screw BlinkPool.
So let's see what goes on here. We've got IO banned out, Chen banned out, no surprises. Elements reacting to what we saw from last game. They've been, well, I imagine their game maybe finished a little early, so they had the chance to look back at the performance at the end of that, and we saw both the clock and the Phoenix being utilized very well by Misery's team. So very much targeted bans in that sense. As I said, I would sort of like to see the Beastmaster banned out as well, unless they think they can get it. Because for Kezu, it was very strong. They are going to ban out the Night Stalker. So Beastmaster still in the pool. Maybe we'll see Misery's side ban it. The other sort of big openers still being left available are the Naga Siren. That is still there. If they want to go for sort of Naga Disruptors, Naga Jakiros.
Taking their time.
Let's have a look. What are Misery worried about?
5 seconds remaining.
And what is Misery worried about? Let's have a look. Ticking into the bonus time here. I mean, the bans of Elements may be slightly unexpected. So I think Misery Stack are probably saying, well, look, they banned the Clockwork, they banned the Phoenix. Because they've gone for sort of these targeted bans, this is leaving a lot of sort of tier 1 heroes in the pool. The ban of the Sand King, Beastmaster is still there. I really feel if you're Elements, you've got to seriously consider just grabbing that Beastmaster. It's in the pool. You don't want to let Misery's team have it. Kezu is very comfortable on the hero.
What else of a kind of a standard ban heroes are we missing that we normally see?
I mean, as I said,
we
a
see
lot of sort of the Lycan, a lot of Naga Siren combos are banned out, and Skywrath.
I mean, at least you're denying them the Beastmaster Skywrath combination, right?
Sure, yeah, you're making sure that they don't get the combo.
But then normally you'd still want to have the Beastmaster of the two, I guess. At least that's what I think.
It's if your first pick, if you pick the Beastmaster, then you're sort of giving up the chance for the opponents to get Skywrath plus a great combo hero like the Axe or such. Obviously, if you do it the other way around, it's better because you stop them from getting Skywrath +1. And sure, they get Beastmaster +1, but Beastmaster is one of those heroes that it's just such a great pick on its own. It doesn't really need to be picked as a 2.
And they might not want to have the Beastmaster. They go for Wind Ranger. They could take it
with it.
They're liking.
I think Beastmaster still is very appealing to Misery's lineup, but then the same to be said for Elements because Misery did not decide to grab it as one of the 2 openers.
Yeah, because now you've got the Skywrath Beastmaster combination still, if you want it.
Yeah, Beastmaster or Axe
could be a trap.
Would both be very appealing here. I would actually maybe prefer to see the Axe against the summons of the Lycan. And against the Focus Fire, a target you just really don't want to be ulting. The Axe could be really strong here for Elements if they feel confident in playing it with that Skywrath in play. Let's have a look.
What do they want?
Going right into the bonus time here. Elements.
How's the football looking, JJ?
Pretty good actually. Germany's playing quite fast. They just had a pretty good chance, but still 0-0.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Back to the Dota. I'm surprised they're taking so long for this first.
I mean, there's a lot of strong options. And go for the... That is a little surprising. It's a popular hero, but picking it second... Whilst there are so many other sort of tier 1 picks left, we'll see what they do with it, but a little surprised they picked it up as early as they do. Now comes through the Beastmaster ban, as expected to see. Misery Stack What do they want to make sure doesn't get through with that Bloodseeker? That is the question. I mean, already, of course, Bloodseeker Scarif is a very strong combo to have. A Blood Rage Scarif can get out a lot of damage from an incredibly safe distance.
There's the Axe ban, Beastmaster ban. I mean, no surprise. I think if anybody wanted those heroes, they should have picked it earlier. And both teams will be aware of that too.
Lena being the ban actually as well. One of those heroes that can certainly lane very well in the mid lane against the Bloodseeker. So being the fact that they did pick the Bloodseeker as early as they did, they do want to make sure that he is not going to have sort of a terrible lane matchup in mid. And we'll look to secure such a lane with such bans. And I wouldn't be surprised as well if we also see the fifth ban being tailored towards securing a good mid lane matchup for the Bloodseeker. Let's have a look. Misery stack themselves. A fifth pick. What do they not want to be there with the Bloodseeker? Any sort of AoE setup would be a sensible ban. Maybe even considering the Underlord would be very nice to have with the Bloodseeker and some fantastic D-push against what is going to be a Lycan lineup. They'll go with another off-laner ban. They'll ban out Darkseer. Does leave Underlord in, and we have seen it feels a sort of a rising popularity with Underlord in these European Open games. Now, Misery's team, third pick. They know that this Bloodseeker's here. I think that it's really valuable that they know that this Bloodseeker's coming out second pick. They've got a lot of picks to deal with it in that sense. Unless it is a little bit of the curveball and the Bloodseekers are going to be played in capacity that maybe they're not anticipating.
Treant.
Treant will be the pick.
I feel like a little bit of a lack of lockdown. You can't really counter Shackle. And Overgrowth is nice, but, you know, level 6. So for how are they going to control the Bloodseeker when he's zooming about? It's going to be a tricky one. Same thing goes for the other team, though, but we don't know yet. I mean, that's mostly going off of Wind Ranger maybe being a 4 position and Treant Protector being the 5.
I think it's one of the, it's just the living armor's very nice this game against some of the Sky's harassment in lane. But Undying going to be picked as well, so already...
That's a 4 Undying, right? Normally you'd have 4 or 5 Undying. Like, is it Skywrath Undying support combo?
I would imagine so, yes.
What's with the lack of disables? Don't you want to disable against the Lycan?
And they still have 2 picks to go. I mean, already the Rupture is you know,
okay.
sure it's not a disable as such, but
it
is a way of allowing some sort of control to be applied to the Lycan.
Yes.
And yeah, they do still have 2 picks to go. But as you say, definitely something you would imagine that they are having in mind at the moment. They literally don't have any sort of stun or sort of initiator as such on their side. Misery Stack going for the Veno, so sort of focusing on the slows. Definitely a hero that can be quite irritating for Bloodseeker to play against. There's a lot of damage going to be outputted, and a lot of ways to sort of keep the Undying at bay, stopping sort of the Bloodseeker and Undying being able to get in the faces of your cores. And you have got quite a nice bit of team fight being built together between the Treant and the Venomancer. Let's see where we go for here. The 4th pick. Will it have some sort of disable? They still need their carry. They still need their offlaner. I do still like the Underlord. Yeah, Underlord matched with probably the Undying on the offensive dual lane.
Yeah.
Could be a very nice way to go aggressive against the carry of Misery's lineup, depending on who they want to put in the safe lane. So I'd like to see that Underlord. Still, let's have a look. Okay, they'll pick up the safe lane first.
Sure, why not?
Slark in this manner. I mean, you have the pounce, so you do have some sort of control in terms of things to worry about yourself as a Slark. There's nothing that you can't Dark Pact. Well, obviously, some of the damage instances is low. The Veno's still slightly annoying, But in terms of sort of hard lockdown, of course, Shackle Shot, the roots, you are going to be able to dark pack your way around them for the most part of it. There's no sort of instant lock. And there's that ban. And I think there's a very smart ban from Misery's side. You have to take the Underlord out. I mean, arguably it was kind of coming to the point where it was only really one of the best offlaners that was left in the pool.
1 second. That's me. Just continue.
We can't continue.
Oh,
We can't see the
Pimp,
drafts.
you messed it. Okay, there we go. Right, Pimp broke it for a second, but we're all good now. We're
We
fixed.
good.
The final ban is going to be the Emma Spirit. So again, banning out sort of these mid laners that can have a strong lane with the 1v1 against the Bloodseeker. Final pick from Elements. Underlord gone. What are we looking at on that offlane now?
So you want to
Who's sort
check?
of
You want
left
to
us still
tanky
sort of
sturdy
top tier?
Centaur?
Centaur wouldn't be too bad.
It's not ideal, but it gives you an. Let's disable. It gives you the tankiness. It gives you somewhat of an escape repositioning.
Maybe even playing
Initiation.
something like a Tide, so you do have that sort of Ravage to set up fights, Ravage to set up the blood right.
You could put Undying as the offlaner, have a Earthshaker to go with it.
I wouldn't want to see a Shaker here, not against a Venomancer.
Lorda.
And it's the Tide, as I said. I like that. You've got the setup for the blood right. You now do have some sort of Ravage coming through. Something like a Centaur or a Shaker, which were a little too focused on having that blink against the Venomancer. Sure, the Tide as well is a hero that eventually does want to revolve around making those blink initiations. But for the most part, it's just about having this beefy frontliner who can build these auras. And, I mean, the range of the Ravage is so massive that it's always very likely that you're going to be able to catch some sort of hero out that is going to land down, get caught out in the blood right, setups there, times there for Slark to steal the stats. It's a smart finisher from EPG. But it is also one that Misery can punish you. Because still, the whole lineup, the one stun is on an incredibly long cooldown. Misery, it depends where they're going to put this Venomancer.
I think offline.
I guess it's going to be on the sort of dual lane.
Maybe mid.
I'd like to see them have something else in the mid lane. I really would. I want to see them have something else in the mid against Bloodseeker. Because so you've got to now consider what else is strong against the Bloodseeker. I mean, the OD is still there. I don't know if it sort of fits with the lineup. They have some sort of slows and controls. It's a hero that can sort of mess with the Bloodseeker in lane. In a 1v1. You've got some sort of save for heroes to get jumped on by the Slark.
They go for the
But they go for the... Okay. So it's going to be Madara PL once again. Kai's on the Lycan, so we'll see if Kaiser does indeed take the Lycan to the mid and PL to the safe lane. But it's sort of save. You've got the way to save yourself. Now a hero that can be quite a nightmare for the Slark to go for. You know, normally on a Slark, you get the Shadow Blade, you try and go and find the Picos. You're not going to be able to get that PL every time because he has that doppelganger. He has ways to sort of reset, turn back in onto you after the Shadow Dance is worn off with the damage that you can offer from that Diffusal Blade build. But it's definitely a game where they could struggle in killing the Tide if Mitch has a really good time getting the Crimson, getting the pipe online. Both items that are going to be absolutely huge in this game. You've got this offlaner that is going to be able to farm both of them. Crimson Guard going to be excellent against Kaiser. You know, the Lycan, the Wind Ranger, and the PL. Pipe as well going to be beautiful against the Venomancer in these team fights. I think you definitely was sort of lean towards the temptation of getting the Crimson Guard first. It depends how much of a threat you feel Kezu is going to be. You sort of assess how well the Veno starts in lane. And to sort of whether the main sort of problem is going to be in the team fights because of the damage output type.
That is one cool LeBron set.
Well, let's see. So game one, ladies and gentlemen, of BlinkPool versus Elements Pro Gaming. Let's see what we're going to get between these two. Best of 3. Loser goes home. Winner will make it forward to the final best of 3 that they have to play to get into the regional qualifiers. So let's see what we can have going on here. As I'll get the overlay changed, get ourselves in. I mean, overall, looking at the drafts, I feel like I do have to favor Misery Stack. I feel like Madara can definitely have a really good time on the PL this game because of the lack of stun. As long as he makes good timing on the Diffusal Manta, gets those 2 items, he's pretty good to go this game. He's got ways to get out of the silence. Sure, there is a Rupture in play, but for a start, it's not always going to be easy for the Bloodseeker to get the Rupture out to the right target. And second, most of the time, he'd rather be rupturing the Lycan to make sure that the Lycan can't run around freely in the fights. So I think sort of that lack of disable you talked about earlier really could be the downfall of Element's lineup if they aren't able to sort of group up around the Tidehunter and just start pushing down lanes as 5 against Misery's lineup.
30 seconds to battle.
I've updated standings now. This should be
All right.
good to go. Basically, everyone is in the round of 8 nowadays playing. So these are all the best of 3s. Everyone made it. I don't. Yeah,
Everybody that expected it.
there was
so
no
they made
upset
Yep.
in the best of ones.
All right.
As far
So
as I saw.
Alliance versus Waga stack is on Beyond the Summit 2 with Cinderin and LD. We have Misery stack versus Elements Pro Gaming, or otherwise known as the LeBron stack, which is not actually a stack, but a pro team. And it's a best of 3 on all accounts. So on all the round of 8 matches, that is. This is just game 1, and the other matches will also be just in the first game of the series. Got yourself a Slark. He is gonna have some support of the Undying.
It can become quite a tough lane though, for
Yeah.
sure. Against the Treant, it's never fun at the early stages getting punched by the Treant as a Slark, as you're constantly sort of forced to wonder if you have to use the pounce to get out. But it's an interesting switch up with lanes. They put Kezu in the mid because they want to try and have a matchup where the Bloodseeker's not going to have a totally free time. But with DNZ being here as well, it's not nice for Kezu at these early levels. There's a lot of free harassment that the Skyriff can send out onto him.
And that was a Blood Rage Skyriff. Did you see the damage it did? It's crazy.
It's a great combo to have, especially in that mid lane. And especially against something like a Venomancer. Level 1, the Venomancer's not got much that he can do to save himself. Now he's got the 2, so he's got the Gale as well as the Poison Sting. And we'll see how well Kezu can disrupt the CS of Bora Ninja. But with DNZ sitting here, I would think that we'll see Bora Ninja have a pretty good time. They'll match it now. They'll move their lanes around so they have a 2 versus 2. They have some sort of backup for Kezu. And they can make sure that DNZ doesn't get sort of that free damage onto Kezu without being punished. As straight away, it's literally just the Wind Ranger chasing DNZ out at that half of the map. Let's see how Bronija can do. I think he's going to be more than okay. Saxa trying for a power shot, but Bronija keeping himself back away from the creeps. With the Wind Ranger now revealed, Bronija has to be an extra bit careful.
Yeah, the Skyriff is obviously no longer middle as well. So that means that Wind Ranger will also rotate. Well, actually, never mind. She picks up DD rune. Is she still going bottom? Yeah, she is.
Let's see what she can find.
Yeah, DNZ is a pretty squishy target, but his positioning is quite decent.
It's level 2. Saxa.
Anything?
He's only got the power shot on the wind run. No shackle shot at the moment.
Shackle shot would have gotten a kill. Probably.
It would have, but it's understandable.
Yeah,
Level
for
2,
sure.
you'd rather have these two. It's the better damage output. You can't sort of build your skills expecting to get a DD at level 2. So just having that extra damage from the point in the power shot early on is much more value.
I don't think so.
Undying is already forced to go back to base. He was out of mana and doesn't want to be a bother to his Bloodseeker up top. Sorry, his Slark up top. So leaving him alone for the moment. We'll be able to teleport back if really needed. Does mean that Madara has got quite a good time farming over there. Speaking of good times, Kezu does not have that. He's just gonna harass.
He's doing really
top
well.
CS.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he's top CS at the moment.
I
Sheev.
meant in that specific moment where he got ganked by the Skyriff.
Okay, but in terms of the matchup, Kezu's doing a really good job at forcing back the Bloodseeker. The poison, so that tick damage makes it very hard for Bronija to get the CS, to get the lifesteal.
Ooh, he got
As
the Gale off. That should be a kill, right?
It may just be so. Kezu, he's impressing me in this mid lane matchup. I was asking questions. How's Kezu going to do? He's absolutely nailing it. 20 for 6 now against 11 for 4, as well as getting a first blood in the 1v1.
That started off with him getting massively harassed.
It was, yeah. It was with the pressure of DNZ at the start in that middle lane.
Oh, DNZ. Got one more arcane ball.
Stick charges down on Saxa. Should be enough to keep him safe with the TP out immediately on the high ground. He's out before another arcane bolt can fly through and get him.
Regeneration.
That's top lane Misery. Getting pounced upon, taking a lot of damage here. They're trying to turn a punch back onto LeBron in response as it's a 1-for-1. Both of the supports die, same time towards mid. Kezu getting gone, and he pops the stick charges. Boronija falling low. He's gone down. Kezu takes one. He may even be able to get both of them, and he does. The poison sting damage is enough. Kezu absolutely owning this middle lane.
Oh, and it's so scary if a Venomancer gets a good start like that. He can really just take off and take control, or at least force out a lot of pressure. Swift ending, sitting on 14 and 5 last hits against a PL that is 24-4. That's rough. Would you rotate something like Sky maybe over? But Sky has to already help middle.
And middle is in a fair bit of a difficulty at the moment.
Oh, Madara, Misery. Going for Swift ending here. Swift ending, thinking about charging Misery, but he can't do that.
He's got to be careful, yeah.
It's available, we'll need to use it.
Will fall incredibly low there, Swift ending. Still, level 4.
Doesn't have regen and one
He's
tango.
just got the one tango, yeah.
That's not enough.
He can get a soul rip from LeBron.
He needs to be closer to.
There we go. It's got a pretty good range nowadays, soul rip. So we'll get a decent chunk of heal from that. Spam though, Madara trying to move it under the tower with this creep wave. Jump with the doppelganger, really wanting to finish off Swift ending. He's got the mana as he pops up. Looks towards him. Swift ending hiding in the trees. He's still got the creeps here to allow them to hunt, but Madari's not going to be able to find him. Same time mid lane, Kezu getting gone upon. He'll get the ultimate out though. Kezu actually keeping himself alive. He's been blood rage, but he's ended up only helping Kezu. As Kezu's got the south pop, top lane, Misery stack, move in, chase down LeBron, cut down the Undying. They'll find 2, and Swift ending getting heavily forced back.
One
Away
hit
from the
for
wave.
Saxa.
Saxa.
Saxa, you gotta get
I don't
him.
think he's going to find it. He's
The one health.
Oh, he hasn't got the mana for the power shot. He'll have it in a second.
Oh.
He's going to try for it for sure.
Yeah, but
He doesn't go for it.
Doesn't know where he went.
Indeed, we'll save the mana to see if he can help out top instead.
Yeah, and he can.
As he does still have that power shot available. Bam! There it is. Comes through and helps Misery pick up the kill onto LeBron. Madara sweeping through there, having some great pressure on this top lane Misery stack, really making it tough for Swift ending to get any sort of farming done at all. As Misery's hot on the case, he's got his eyes onto the slug. It's still just level 5, so no real escape or save for himself. As Swift ending's taken down, as 7 minutes in, we're 8-1 with a 3k lead for Misery's team.
This Undying is having a really, really rough time, and he's not having a big impact at all.
Speaking of rough time, guys, Germany just did not score. Mexico scored.
Mexico scored.
Fast counter attack.
Alright.
Beautiful shot. So Germany's down one goal.
Well, Mexico is having a fun time. Speaking of fun time, Tidehunter is having a fun time as well.
What's up, Swift ending again? Getting pressure by Misery and Madara. The soul rip certainly needed to even just allow him the chance to have a look at the creeps, because at the moment he's not getting the chance to touch them. 21 and 5. He's falling behind in CS compared to all other farmers on the board because of this aggressive lane from Misery's side. Mid lane, DNZ. There's the wraparound. Kaiser hits 6 straight away. Looks to make a play mid. Up top, Boronija is coming through. Looking at Madara. They will get the blood ride upon him. Madara in a lot of trouble as the 3 chase him. He has the living armor. Madara, he actually goes for the TP out. He's going to make it away.
That's what you get when you don't drop disables.
They've got no disables at all, apart from that Ravage. So with those plays, you just carry TPs if you're Misery's side. If you've got a TP, you're probably getting out, and Bam's top lane. They come back in. Kezu doing it again, picking up the mega kill streak as they get not just the Bloodseeker, but the Slark as well, as elements are really starting to crumble, trying to make these rotations, but Misery's side are just coming out on top every single time.
A lot of pressure on the Tidehunter. That first Ravage has got to make a difference. It's got to set up something beautiful for your elements because they need it. They really do need it. LeBron?
I see
Come
What's
on.
happening?
He's got a shield. That's all he got.
Middle tower is under attack.
It's not even a shield, it's more like a wood thing that he uses.
Yeah, it's like a pot lid that he found somewhere.
Ouch.
Alright, Swift Ending. He's super close to level 6. Really wants that. Because it will allow him some safety and some form of escape. And so he can actually get some farm going. Oh, but he doesn't have it yet. And he's going to get dove on. Misery close by as well. Can't really dive for him just yet. Just the two of them as well. Wind Ranger is taking that bottom lane in the meantime. He's like, well, done being support. I'm farming now. Oh, Lightning's coming top. Is he oh, he's going for the runes first.
Yep, 10-minute mark coming up. As we'll see, Misery and the boys able to get 3 of them. DNZ will still be able to claim 1 for elements.
Swift Ending, level 6. Doesn't want to have his ultimate forced out just yet.
Now wants to make sure he can save it for any sort of chance that he sees to actually get aggressive with it. So at the moment there is the threat of Misery, having that level 6, having that overgrowth ready to go if any sort of team fight kicks off. That's mid lane. Kezu level 10 on his Venomancer.
Yeah.
Mitch has tried to sort of soak up some farm in the mid lane, but he's not sort of getting a free time with that, with the constant harass from the Veno. And as you say, a lot of weight on Mitch. He really is the one that had the best time for the side out of the lanes, as both Slark and Bloodseeker falling heavily behind.
Radiant are scanning.
As the lead increases, 12 to 1, 10 minutes in, 7,000 net worth advantage for BlinkPool.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Also, this is interesting with the Wind Ranger down bottom. You have so much space. You have a Venomancer owning the mid lane, taking the tier 1 tower, no problem. And you have a Lycan super mobile as well. You can come basically anywhere. You can just pop an ult and run away, especially when you have Misery scouting. So that frees you up the lane to give this Wind Ranger kind of more than just a 4th position. This is great.
Misery just setting up the fire. It is just DNZ and the Braum, but they'll take it. Ravage comes through for Mitch, but already DNZ has lost his life. It's a 1-for-1, but Kaiser and Kezu still very much good to go. Mitch goes straight for the TP out. LeBron will not be quite as fortunate as he will fall. Kaiser picks up the double kill, and at the same time, Madara, he's hunting down Swift Ending in the tree. Swift Ending will start to pop us out. Dart packs as well as he looks towards Madara, and he will get the kill. Swift Ending able to survive, as he will win the fight against Madara.
Now that is a very important kill. That tip instantly. I'm not sure if you're in any position to tip.
They'll do anything they can to try and tilt their opponents, despite the fact that BlinkPool do have a heavy advantage.
Dire's bottom tower is under
That's a
attack.
little too early. Kill him again, maybe then you can try.
Attacks up.
Shackle hits, but can he teleport out? He has got teleport
Oh, he makes it! Living armor!
He did not make it.
He doesn't.
Did not make it.
He's
Oh.
dead, Owen.
Should have tried it earlier.
That was close though.
It's very close.
The
Very
living
close.
armor nearly saved him.
Yes.
It looked like, because the living armor protected him a lot against the Mystic Flare, but I guess sort of both when the Mystic Flare cut through the living armor
If he
charges,
teleported
and then he got
instantly,
nuked. Yeah.
He would live.
He would have lived. Yeah.
Radiant's middle tower is
This
under
was
attack.
very close.
I hope that's not on stream.
Dire's bottom tower
What?
is under attack.
Misery.
Oh, never mind. We're good.
Looking towards Swift Ending. Does have Madara heading over as well. We'll see how far Swift Ending heads out in this top lane. Keeping himself hidden in the trees at the moment. Mid lane. Maybe thinking about the setup onto Mitch. Kezu goes forward. It's a hard target. They've got the slow of the Gale. He does have the hood popped up top. Misery's been found. They get the overgrowth out. Sort of just both teams trying to go for one another with the 3 of them, as they will take down Misery. But again, it is the greater trade for BlinkPool as they find the Tidehunter.
Yeah, the top net worth of Elements Pro Gaming versus the, well, what is it, lowest net worth of the Misery stack. I'd take that trade any day if I was the Misery stack. BlinkPool looking pretty good here in this first game of the best of 3. 6k gold up at 15 minutes into the game, or 14 minutes into the game. 15 to 5 in kills, and you know, late game this match, I still put it in favor of the Misery stack. So this is all going to be Elements Pro Gaming looking
Oh,
for
they drop the
advantages and
tombstone.
fights and
The leader
mistakes.
was Kaiser. He gets the ult out, but the pounce is there, holding him in place. Swift Ending taking a lot of damage from the power shot, but he'll be able to stand his ground with the Shadow Dance. The Tide Hunter coming in as well with that Ravage to hold Kaiser down. They'll get the Lycan kill. Does take the whole team, but they do find it. Misery is continuing to focus on his farm, getting that Meteor Hammer online. So they have further way to stun lock down the opponents. Question is if Elements can find more kills like that one. They do get it, but it costs a lot. A lot of ultimates being expended. Top lane, Zaxa actually finding the chance there to get the shackle shot around the Dark Pact, a swift ending.
Ooh, that was very close. What does he have? What's that?
He's got the Javelin, hasn't quite got the full Maelstrom. Bottom lane, DNZ. Taken out.
Stop baiting me, Sheever.
Sorry.
I was so close. I was like, wait, click. All good, all good.
Oh, bounty runes
That's a lot of gold.
for BlinkPool.
Plonk.
Dire's bottom tower
Loads
has
of money.
fallen.
Yeah, it would be something if the Wind Ranger can take out the #1 position of Elements Pro Gaming.
Bottom tower is
I mean, give her a Maelstrom and she's getting real
Exactly.
close, honestly. Or just a power shot, I guess.
That is scary. It's going to be.
So I was like, let me show you. This
It
works.
did reveal that there's a ward on the side of
Radiant's middle
No.
tower.
You go for that.
Kazu will stand his ground. He's getting Mystic Fled. He gets the ult out there but onto both Mitch, Boronija, and DNZ, but he loses his life for it. Kazu down.
He's got his ult out on 3, but there's no follow-up. Is it worth dying there?
No. I mean, well, they get the tower, but no, it's a good hold for Elements getting that kill onto the Venom.
Oh, those
DNZ.
creeps?
Ha!
Oh,
Alright, that feels.
And at the same time, Swift ending.
You hate
Depending
to
on
see
for
it.
which
You hate to see it.
for which side you're rooting. I'm rooting for the creep. That creep was trying real hard and gave his life for the cause. Actually, that's what all creeps do. It's very noble work. The Boar Ninja. Not doing too bad, all things considered.
Dire's top
Yeah,
tower
he's still
is
quite
under
far
attack.
behind. I mean, he's a bit
Yeah.
2k behind the cause. I mean, they're catching up a little bit, but they've still got a long way to go. I mean, it's
You got
very early in the
something in
game,
the
60
career.
minutes in, but it's a 9k lead that Misery's team has.
What's he have in the career?
This guy.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It's a blade mail.
Yeah, at least you can do something when Lycan attacks you. You can have Wind Ranger kill herself on you. Wait a second, how many people are building a blade mill?
Let's open this old panel that's deprecated.
Oh, just like if everybody builds a blade mill, then Kezu is gonna have a problem.
Well,
Yeah, but then everyone's built a blade metal.
I know.
but then
That's
you
not
build
a great
five,
position
like,
for your team to
whatever.
be. It may sort of help you win a fight, but you need a lot more than that.
I know,
At
it's a
this
pub
stage.
thing to do. We know what you know, pub.
It's a pretty good meme, but you know.
Oh, looks like Elements not getting too crazy in terms of looking for a fight. They want to try and get these initiation items online. They do now have the Shadow Blade for swift ending Slark. 1300 on Tide towards the Blink. Did not go for the Vanguard into Crimson Guard with the pipe, as I did sort of assume so, and I kind of would still like to see. I know that there is obviously a lot of weight on him finding the initiation because of their lack of lockdown, so I can see why they go towards the Blink, but the Crimson Guard really is such a high value item against the lineup that Misery have in these games in terms of keeping your Slark and Bloodseeker alive, which I'm sure we'll see him go back for, but it is going to be postponed with him wanting to try for the Blink first. That power shot did come in at the same time that smoke was popped, so they may have caught vision of that. Here we go. Shackle shot does catch on to Kezu. Does get the ult out onto pretty much all of them. The Ravage comes out in play as they look to burst down Kezu. But Kezu yours up. He'll keep himself alive for now. The Blood Rite not going to catch onto him as Kezu will live. And so much damage being done here. 2 Elements because of the fact that Kezu got off that Poison Nova to start the fight off. They've lost the Bloodseeker and the Skywrath. LeBron gets chased down as well, as the fight is taken perfectly by Misery's team around the pit. The opener there with the shackle shot from Saxa, kicking things off and allowing Kezu to get in the perfect place to cover them all with his green sticky goo. And now the mid lane push will come through. Tier 2 tower will be taken. They've got the Aegis in hand. BlinkPool now with a sizable lead and an increasing one at that as well. 20-7. Coming up just before the 20-minute mark. Top creep wave being shoved in by Saxa as well, so they can consider looking for more tier 2 towers, Misery team. Now Swift Ending. Out and on the hunt. But still trying to climb his way towards his Echo Saber. The top lane, Madara and Kaiser, they'll get away with the tower for free. Tier 2's taken. Do they want to try and move on for more? They'll have the shapeshift online for Kaiser in 10 seconds. Kezu's ult, how long are we looking at that one on the Verno? It's still about 20 seconds. So relatively soon that they will have that ready. They want to try and force a fight and look to break the base of this 20-minute mark, this sort of peak time for this Lycan lineup to make a play. Shackle won't latch. Tombstone has been dropped down by LeBron in an effort to force Misery's team back. And looks like it will work for now. As they'll pull themselves away from the base. Decent damage done to the tier 3 tower though, as it sits at just about under a third of its health.
For the Wagables Alliance game, please go on BTS 2, guys. You guys want to see that? It's over there. I don't know how it's going. I'll update obviously, but yeah, we don't quite know. We're focusing on the Misery stack
And
the top side.
Into the base, there you go. Onto the barracks. Where's the defense from Elements? They have to do something. They've got the full team alive. They do have all the ultimates ready. As Misery's team constantly going in and out, poking at the base. They do. They've got eyes on Swift Ending. He tries to pounce, but he pounces into the PL. Madara managing to block off that escape attempt from Swift Ending as he's now dead for 30 plus seconds. They'll move straight into the base. They'll take down the Tombstone. More money for BlinkPool as they'll clean up the full set of racks, getting themselves a step closer to getting that victory here in the game 1 of the best of 3. Straight towards mid lane they go. And another tier 3 tower in trouble. 15 seconds before Slark's back in. He does have buyback, but he does not want to expend it, seeing as his death timer is so low still at this stage of the game. But it will cost them that second tier 3 tower, maybe the barracks as well, as Madara straight in, cleans out the range racks. They turn towards the melee racks as well. BlinkPool has now 2 full sets of racks up against Elements. What can Elements do against this? As Misery and the boys can simply reset, pushing down bottom and look to threaten mega creeps at 23 minutes into the game. It's a very hard defense for Elements to hold. There's no doubt about it. It's nearly reaching the 1k per minute gold lead. As you can see on the graph, BlinkPool just playing this game perfectly. The draft, there was worries for what Elements were going to be able to do with that lack of lockdown, and we're certainly seeing it.
Dire's bottom shrine is under attack.
I think this game definitely can sort of be favored as being heavily won in the draft. Not to sort of discredit the play of Misery's lineup, but they set themselves up perfectly with the collection of heroes to have a very, very smooth game against Elements. Down bottom. Ready to move in. For another tier 3. Straight up the Ravage comes out in return as they are looking towards Madara. He has been silenced, but straight away the Mantra's there to remove it as DNZ taken down. LeBron will fall as well. Double kill for Madara. Going for the tide. Mitch surrounded. He's out of mana. He's out of luck. GG is pulled.
Game 1 in the back.
BlinkPool getting that victory. It is a best of 3, so we'll see how the series continues. but they'll get that game 1 win.
I must say, I thought this game was going to be a lot more even.
I agree.
I think we were worried about the draft, but sure, it is always surprising at this stage of the Open Qualifiers, this sort of latter stage where we're at the penultimate best of 3 to see a game be as one-sided as such. So if anything, it really does test to how well Misery and his team drafted and were able to really pull things together incredibly efficiently here in this game 1. So this is the game 1 of this one. As the other game we're sort of keeping in front. How is the Wagger versus Alliance game going?
It just ended. At least I can't find. Oh,
Okay.
never mind. We can take a very quick peek.
We'll have a very quick peek before we have a short ad break.
Yep.
As, of course, you can catch this game over on Beyond the Summit 2 with LD and Cinderin,
Yes.
who are currently following the action here.
Radiant structures.
And as we can see, it's literally just started. Is this
That's
game
game-
1 or game 2?
Oh, let me double check. It looked like game 1,
Okay.
but I will double check for you guys.
So this
And-
may be
No,
game
it's
1.
game 1. It's game 1.
This is game 1. So this is
Alright.
game 1. So that series has just kicked off. So if you want to go and watch Alliance versus Wagger, head over
can.
twitch.tv/Beyond the Summit 2. And for the rest of our series, Misery versus LeBron, we'll have game 2 on very shortly. But we'll cut to a short ad break.
One quick look for the IDX game, because that's way further down.
Which game?
And, that's very even.
Very even.
All right, let's take a look at items and then we'll
IGX.
go for the ad break.
Is under attack.
Oh wait, sorry, I didn't swap to in-game.
Dire's structures
There you
are
go.
fortified.
So yeah, it looks
Dire's
really even. We have a QO Phantom Assassin, an absolute classic.
Oh, Boogie and 9. Those are your... Oh, and Armen as well.
Oh yeah, this is the old Penta stack and Oliver. All right, not too bad, not too bad. They are definitely they were at some lands. I remember them on at Aces RG and Kuala Lumpur. So yeah, they can play the game. All right, let's cut to a break and we'll be right back, guys.
We'll cut to a short break. So we may see IGX later on as they are in the same half of the bracket as this game, right?
Yep.
As our game.
So we may
yes.
see IGX play up against
Was
Elements.
Misery Stack not
or
knocked
Misery's
out
team
by QO Stack before?
They were indeed. So maybe
Ooh, the
chance to get
rematch.
revenge. Indeed, that rematch could be down the line.
Uh-huh.
As we'll be back in a few minutes. We'll cut to a few ads, and then we'll look to head into game 2 of Elements versus BlinkPool.